Hi, guys. Welcome to some more Real Talk Dog Talk. I'm Tori.
And I'm Barb.
For those of you who haven't joined us before, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at realtalkdogtalk@yahoo.com.
And if you are a regular listener and or emailer, keep those emails coming in. We love getting some ideas and they're entertaining for us as well.
Yes.
So yeah, we love the emails. So before we get into the topic here for
Okay.
today's episode, I had the freakiest thing happen to me just the other night.
What happened?
Well, I had, when I feed multiple dogs, I kind of rotate them through the yard to the house and back out and
Yeah.
blah, blah. So I had 3 of the girls outside and I heard a commotion on the deck.
Yeah.
Kind of sounded like they were, I don't know, flipping a dog dish, or I didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
So I went and looked, and it was Elsa, Gabby, and Bolo were outside.
Okay.
And one of them was down on the ground and 2 were on the deck, and I walked out and there were 8 vultures
Oh my gosh.
circling directly above them in this open area where there's no trees, and then above this one area here. So it's kind of like a weird circle thing.
Huh.
But I believe they were circling my dogs.
Now, we might have to Google this. Do they attack live animals? I didn't think so, but
I don't know. I thought they were scavengers, and then the girls are all at least, I would say, 110 or more pounds.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I was super confused because they're not a small target like a little rat or a small chihuahua. That was kind of mean putting those in the same sentence. But anyhow,
size, it makes sense. Just like
it's not like some little animal that they could, snatch up and eat.
Right.
So it was very bizarre. And I, got my dogs in the house, made sure they were secure.
Yeah.
And I walked back out because I was going to say, hey, what is going on out here that there's vultures circling? They were gone.
Well, and I was going to say too, it's farm fields near you. So it's pretty obvious if, say, an animal died out there, like a deer or something. I mean, you can usually...
There's longer grasses in some spots, but I would think I would see some sign of a dead animal. But
yeah,
unless it was something very small. But it seemed odd to me that as soon as the dogs came in, the birds went away.
Well, that makes me think it wasn't something else for sure. You know what I mean? That's
very alarming.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to Google it.
And then we got Reggie, who's only, I don't know, he's maybe 40 pounds.
Well, they could take him for sure. We know that.
Well, an eagle maybe could, but gosh, I was really, I've lived out there for years and I've never, ever had such a situation happen. So that really caught me off guard. And yeah, we're going to have to do some looking on that and see if that's a thing or...
Yeah, because, I mean, Reggie's small enough. I don't know about the because they're vultures and scavengers, but... gosh, yeah, that
was some kind of weird. I don't know. It was
well,
concerning to me,
to say the least. Gosh, that's
so. Rocky isn't here anymore. Reggie is no longer allowed out in the yard alone.
Yeah, and at least till he's over 100 pounds
or 200. I guess those girls aren't exactly lightweights.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I think those dogs are bigger than the birds, but I don't know.
Well, actually, those were some big birds.
They really are big. They're bigger than you think.
Yeah, I guess my perspective on their size changed after yesterday as well, because they're quite large. But anyhow, so that was my adventure for the week, I guess. But very strange behavior. I'm going to have to, you're right, we'll have to do some looking and figure out what the heck, if I need to continue to be worried.
Yeah, no kidding. Was that a fluke? That'd be weird. I mean, just as weird, if not more. But yeah, we'll have to look. We'll see.
We'll let you guys know.
Yeah. We'll check back next week.
For the next week.
Or the next,
on how busy we are.
Well, let's not commit.
Yeah. We're non-committal.
Yeah. We'll do our best. Okay. So, well, this week I had a question.
Mm.
So we decided to answer it.
Well, we'll try to answer.
We'll try.
Yeah.
We'll do our best. Can dogs tell if somebody is bad, sketchy, sus?
What do you think?
Yes. I trust my dogs.
I think they do too.
I think there are definitely I mean no one's right all the time, but I mean dogs I think are a little more in tune with things us as humans, we just don't pick up on.
Well, they're probably more in tune with us than we are with them.
Oh, for sure.
I think we're kind of idiots, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's amazing. Dogs, I think, are just really impressive animals in general. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. We don't deserve them. But, they can't like magically sense if somebody's evil or bad. But, they pick up on all the little things that we don't notice. Facial expressions even. They can smell hormones, all different kinds. I mean, I'm sure they put, in their minds, they can probably tell, one to the other where I'm thinking this guy smells bad,
Well, you have to think if they can, detect cancer and diabetic numbers, they obviously have an insane sense of smell.
Right. So, which again, that just makes them that much more impressive. But even subtle voice tones that they use, somebody, talking a little bit too aggressively.
The important thing is really to know your dog. Every dog has some level of communication with their owner, assuming the owner is actually an owner that is really active and involved with their dogs and they're part of the family. They bond, they understand each other, and they have a communication. And I know what one dog might be saying to their owner, someone else might interpret a different way. And I'm going to use Yazzie as an example.
Yeah.
Frequently, when a dog turns their back or gives their butt to somebody, it's a submissive thing or a trust thing, that they're not afraid or concerned.
Yeah.
But I know when Yazzie's uncomfortable with somebody who, like someone passing by on the street or in a store, his sign to me that he is not comfortable is that he will turn his back to them and just look at me.
Right.
And when he turns his back, he isn't like being submissive to those people. He's uncomfortable with them and he's looking to me for comfort or security.
Right.
So someone else might see that differently, but I know my dog, and that is what that means. And it's very consistent, just knowing the people that I've seen him do that to. So I think it's important to understand how your dog is communicating things to you.
It definitely, I agree with that 100%. And that's the thing. Like my dog Tito, I have no doubt that he would protect me, but he can come across skittish. But I've had people come further into my house and he's unsure of them, and he doesn't stay that way. And he's not aggressive, but he does come across like he may not be the most confident dog in the world, where really he's just unsure of this person who's in the house.
Right.
And dogs can be wrong too, with somebody being different in different ways.
You are correct. But if this is a person, they might not be saying, hey, don't trust this person, they're going to beat you later. But they might be saying, I don't like this person.
Right.
And I don't want them around me as a dog.
Yes, exactly.
So in that respect, I guess when I see my dogs letting me know that they don't like somebody,
right,
I remove them from the situation.
Yes.
Or I just don't have them around those people.
Right.
Whatever the case may be. But really, the dog is saying, they're not comfortable with that person.
Right.
And unless there's some training situation going on where this is a person that they're going to have to be interacting with, I'm not going to force something that they are telling me that they don't like.
Right. And that could cause a bad reaction. So
Yeah.
that's definitely not what you want, putting your dog in a situation where they could be the villain, for lack of better words, when that's not the case.
Okay,
So-
at night, sometimes I have the TV on.
Yes.
I was watching Dr. Pol in the night.
Yes.
He seems like a really good guy.
Yes.
I don't live in Michigan, so I don't use him.
Right.
But I have noticed his movement around animals is very abrupt.
Yes.
And I did notice a couple of dogs, like running around and sitting
Yeah.
behind their owners. And, when you think about body language, if you have a quiet, gentle, soft-spoken owner, and then you come upon someone like that who's a little, smack the butt and give them some affection that way and
Yeah.
all that. I mean, that's definitely alarming to a dog.
Oh, for sure.
So just a person's demeanor can put a dog off. And is it saying that that person is bad? Not necessarily, but I think it's important to always take what your dog is relaying and consider it.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Well, and that's, this guy, the Dr. Pol, is quite abrupt. Say, somebody comes around that's got a beard and they're not used to that. They're like, what is on that person's face?
Mhm.
A hat, any difference, even the way that they walk, if, they have a limp or, I was going to say a strong limp, but with dogs, it can be something minimal even that, we might not even notice actually.
Well, and I think
So-
with dogs, they're so observant. They're keeping an eye on everything that people are doing. And they're probably better at observing than people are. So when they're looking at a situation, they are taking in everything going on, body language, smells. Man, if I was a dog, I think I'd be so overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah. For you guys out there too, some of the things you can look at, which are fairly common responses to, a dog being comfortable around a person or a situation. Some like standing between you and whatever's making them uncomfortable, whoever is. That's a pretty common one. Becoming clingy and alert at the same time. That could be misinterpreted also, but that's kind of similar to what Dr. Pol had going on.
Yeah.
The pets were just clingy, didn't know how to take it. But they also will hide, cower, or retreat, which, I guess could be similar too. But
so this is really the body language that the dog is conveying to their owners.
yes.
So when they're looking at the people that they're encountering, whether it's in the store, on a walk, at a friend's house, maybe company coming to your house, that's when they are looking at the people that they're interacting with and taking in their smells. Maybe I'm wrong. This is just kind of like off the top of my head. I just was thinking about lie detectors when
Oh.
police interrogate someone for murders or crimes.
Yeah.
I think they work much the same way as dogs.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Because what they, I think they monitor heartbeat and temperature. I think there's a few things that they monitor with that. And
Right. And these are things that dogs are taking in as
Yeah.
well. So
it's
they're
super.
like a little four-legged lie detector.
They are. Good luck lying to them.
Yeah.
Well, I do lie to my dogs. And it's mean because they trust me. That's why they believe it. Here we are.
That's really disappointing.
And if you feel also like you personally, your dog may not necessarily initially pick up on, somebody else, but if you say you're uncomfortable around this person that's there, if your dog might sense that from you,
Mhm.
and okay, well, what's this about? Can they associate it's because of this person? I mean, possibly, depending on the situation.
I'm going to say they can.
They're your dog. So, and like you said, they're more in tune than we are. So, but that can also make them react a little bit defensively and kind of have those same behaviors because not necessarily that they're initially put off by somebody, but you as the owner are too, which, obviously, if you're bonded with your dog, they're going to want to defend you.
Okay, so I had someone out at my house.
Yes.
I don't know, a week or so ago, but my yard is fenced in a manner that the fence goes around my house. My dogs are in the house, in the yard, right there.
Yes.
When you come into my yard, you're outside of the dog fence, and the individual had their dog with. And one of my dogs was scratching at the gate, looking at their dog, and this individual kept saying, oh, no, 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 oh, no, no. And I said to them, you're actually making them more excited.
Right.
And dogs can read our energy.
Yes, absolutely.
Whether it's a positive energy or a bad energy, panicked energy. Dogs have the ability to understand. We're putting off certain feelings, sensations, smells, hormones, and they get it.
Yeah.
And so when I told this person that they were, actually making the dog dig at the gate more, the response was, I don't know how you handle this many dogs. And I said, well, I stay calm.
Right. Yes.
And so they walked away, took their dog the other direction, and my dog went away from the gate.
Right. Yep.
So when I see things like that, and I'm watching the interaction between someone, their dog, and my dogs, and I can see a distinct, they walked away with their dog, my dog left.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so obvious. And I think that we seriously, as people, underestimate dogs.
I definitely think so. They're so much smarter and in tune with everything, not just us as their owners.
They know their beans. But I mean, I think you have to just really, and I think there's trainers out there that'll talk about, the energy that you're putting off. I know I've seen horse trainers that talk a lot about, that your arm is the extension to the horse when you're leading them.
Yes.
And that if you're tense, the horse is getting that tense energy.
Yes.
So there's just so much connection there. We have to actually put some belief and confidence in how our dogs react to people.
Definitely.
And I'm not saying that, everybody you meet, if the dog doesn't approve of them, don't interact with them or have anything going on there.
Right.
But I am saying it is something to consider.
Well, and when I have, say, somebody who hasn't met my dogs yet, comes in, they say, oh, I'm a dog person. Now, this is hypothetical. This has not happened. But, say somebody comes to visit, they say, oh, I love dogs. It'll be fine. It's great, and I let my dogs out and, they come in and they don't like them. I might question things a little.
Mm-hmm.
I might pay a little more attention and kind of, like you said, maybe not just quit hanging out with somebody, but it might make me wonder just a little bit and kind of focus a little bit more on the person and their intentions.
Well, this might be a person I would not have dogs sit for me.
Absolutely, because my dogs would probably, we don't want our dogs in trouble for, us putting the wrong person in charge.
Right. So this is, I think it's something to think about, something to be aware of. And I think the connection you have with your dog kind of helps you dictate how you respond to it in the different situations you will actually put your dog in.
For sure. Well, and I personally have to, because I'm an overreactor. So
You are?
surprise.
I
I
know.
know. So
We call it hyperreacting in our family.
yes, I'm so good at it.
Yeah, she's an overachiever.
I definitely excel in that department. But when I'm dealing with I do actually do better in the moment, but there are times where I have to, calm myself down because I'm overreacting and the dogs are like, oh, why? And
Yeah.
it's like, you know, and they do. They're getting the negative energy off me, worry, the hyper reacting, all that. I have to be careful in my house because I do sometimes cause more of a stir than necessary. But
Mhm.
the longer I have dogs, the better it gets. But um, excellent lesson to anybody. Yeah, and I absolutely trust my dogs when it comes to other people. I won't be like, well, I'm blocking you, blocked, just because my dog sniffed you funny, But maybe
Well, they might be right.
you might be.
And then some dogs are just too darn nice and forgiving to really care if someone's a good person or bad. They're like, hey, yeah, all right. Yeah, oh, hit me with a stick. That's okay.
It's fine. It was a bad stick. Grab another. Honestly, I can think of Leroy. Now, I'm not sure how he was with like other strangers and stuff, but anytime I saw him with anybody, he was just really pleased with any sort of
Interaction.
Yep.
Yeah, he was not selective. He just loved everybody.
No. And
He was a yellow lab that I had when kids were teens.
Well, and let me just say, you couldn't not love that dog. I mean,
he was the kind of dog that when you walked in after a bad day at work, you couldn't help but smile, even though he just ate up a dog bed.
Yeah, he'd make you mad at simultaneously happy.
Yeah. Yeah, he introduced me to dollar store cooking utensils.
Yeah.
He was always taking my utensils out of the sink, off the counter, and eating them.
You know what just hit me? I have a yellow dog that does that.
Oh. It's not
Great.
Tito.
No.
Anyhow, yeah. So some dogs are very accepting of pretty much everybody, and they don't really have any judgment, I guess I could say. But that too, sometimes it's the particular situation that brings it out of a dog. Now, I think just a couple episodes ago, I talked about a farm family that has one of Primo Corso Kennel's dogs.
Yeah.
And normally the dog is quite, happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
But I did happen to go over there one night when parents were not home, and the dog had a totally different attitude.
Yes.
Stay away. My kids are here.
Right.
And he was doing his job guarding that family.
Right. Yep.
And so sometimes they might think you're just fine one time, but the situation may change where they're like, they don't like you. They don't want you there.
Right.
So sometimes it's not always a judgment of what they sense on you, but the situation and what they feel like their job is.
Oh, for sure. Which that's doing their job. So
the Cane Corso, it definitely is, because they are a guardian breed. And, they're there to watch out for their flock, their family, their property.
Well, and that's a good, people that, have friends with dogs, keep that in mind too. Cause you don't, like I had a friend come over one time after it was during the cold season. So it got dark at like 5. They came in and my front entry is quite dark and I knew they were coming. Of course, I thought they would knock, but they walked in, which that was not a good idea. That could have, because none of my dogs were happy about that.
Yeah.
They were, I don't think I've seen them get to the door as quick as that ever. And, he was wearing black in the front entry and I told him, that was not really smart. He really could have caused a problem. And
Knock first is
knock,
what you're
yeah.
saying.
I mean, he felt comfortable because he'd known them. He'd been around them. Well, the situation was different. You're walking in the front door without knocking. Nobody can see you, so that's going to,
Right.
Get a reaction, even if he was not sketchy.
Right.
So,
So sometimes a situation actually has as much of a bearing on how a dog reads you as actually you yourself as a person.
right. Yes.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too much of a dog person, but and I guess it partly depends on the dog too. I know with Yazi, he's a dog who, if anybody comes in the yard, the ups, the male, a neighbor, whatever, when I go walking out, he walks out right alongside me, and I do trust his judgment. He's a dog that is very confident and does not really waver at a stranger. So when he's deciding he doesn't like somebody, it's not because he's lacking in confidence or uncertainty or fear. It's because he doesn't like them.
Right.
So
yeah.
I think you have to kind of look at the dog and their personality too.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, because I mean, yeah, you look at like say Leroy, which I know they're different breeds, but you got Leroy and Yazi. I mean, they couldn't be more different.
No,
I would trust Yazi 100% if he was like, nope, not this guy, like or girl, whatever.
Yeah.
I would listen to that for sure. So
yeah,
I think I have definitely seen dogs that have no enemies though. So
well, quite a few of the just random articles I was reading through just really focused a lot on reading body language.
yeah.
So I think there's things that we don't notice as people that dogs are seeing. I don't know. I'm just super impressed with dogs. They got to be so much smarter than us.
Oh yeah. Well, and I was reading because they had listed off like some of the tiny things that the dogs notice, like prolonged eye contact, little tiny facial movements that we wouldn't even think to notice. Even just small inflections in their tone of voice and things like that. I mean,
we'd probably have to videotape it and watch it 20 times before we saw anything that the dogs see in a minute.
Right.
I think body language is huge. And then also just the fact that they put off different smells, their pheromones, the different stress indicators. I think that is probably pretty big.
Yeah. Well, and even say if somebody like came, showed up and smelling like something strange they're not used to, or like say a mechanic stopped by or something, they're not used to smelling that could set them off too, something like that even.
So I guess as far as do dogs, or should I say can dogs tell if people are good or bad? I'm going to vote yes.
I'm going to say yes. It's not real black and white, but yes, they can.
Yeah, I think they are very in tuned. And I'm disappointed in the human race because we don't have a clue.
No, we don't. No. There's I watched a thing on YouTube. There was like 3 guys that they like, I don't know, they're like really good at, were they in the military or something? Anyway, they read facial, like body language and facial expression. It's like their thing.
Yeah.
And I watched a video of them and I'm like, hold on. I had to go back on that because I'm like, where? So they had to go to school for a long time to learn that, and dogs just know it.
They know it.
Yeah.
They are so smart.
They really are. Very impressive animals here.
But now I will say, if you do have problems with your dog, possibly, not liking people, really being fearful, lacking confidence, anything, It's always best to talk to trainers in your area,
Yes.
possibly a vet, even just calling your vet and seeing if they can refer you to a professional. I think it's a good idea to understand your dog. I'm not a person that's into like dog psychics, dog therapists,
Yeah.
all that kind of crazy stuff. Okay, I won't say crazy. That was harsh. But I will say that I think sometimes you need to understand your dog better.
Right.
So that might be something that you could work with a trainer on, and they could work with you on connecting with your dog a little bit in the training aspect as well as communication.
For sure, because they don't use words. So.
And, I love Google. So
yes.
even though it's not always true, that's a great resource as well. If you have anything that are unclear to you or that you might wonder about with your dog's communication.
Definitely. Well, and again, if you have any questions or comments for us, you can email us at realtalkdogtalk@yahoo.com or comment down below.
And thank you for joining us. We hope that you will join us for our next episode. Have a great week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.